Gonna do a quick unboxing and first impressions of a neck knife I got recently. Took a little time to get here, but glad it's finally here. So yeah, let's just check it out. Okay, so there should be two items in this package. Should be a Bark River Adventure neck knife and a set of SE scales for my 3. They've got scales for the 3. And here's the Bark River Adventure knife. There you go. This is a first production run. I'll do more close-ups in a minute. Got it in black micarta. It uses the Duratec 20CV stainless steel. Looks good. A little smaller than I thought from some of the other videos I saw, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I do overall favor smaller knives. Now as far as the sheath goes, it's a stacked leather sheath, and I'm not sure how well it comes up on camera, but there's a little lip right there, and that is where the rare earth magnet goes, so that it holds securely in the sheath. I have to do a little work on that, but I'm sure it'll be very secure in the sheath. I even actually have a little bit of trouble pulling it out. So yeah, scales in a sheath. I'll do a close-up in a minute. And
okay, we're back. So here's the knife. It's a first production run. First time I've been able to get one of those. Duratec's CV or 20 CV steel. Black linen micarta handles. My initial thoughts are it's very comfortable in the hand. It fits very well. Has the kind of wear out right here. That's so if I'm doing any sort of plunge cuts, and it actually feels like it gives a good grip. One thing I will say is the jimping on this knife is probably some of the best I've ever seen. I mean, just by grabbing it, it's right where your thumb goes, and it gives you a really good sturdy grip. Now, as far as size, to give it a little comparison, this is my Zancudo, which I carry often. You notice they're very similar in size. Let's see if I can graft it on there. Almost identical cutting length, and its overall length, the Zancudo is just a little bit big on the back end. This has a 2.65 inch cutting edge. From what it says, overall I think it's 3.25 to where you get to the scales. Another good comparison I can give is comparatively to my blackjack neck knife, which was in a recent video. Their cutting edges are very similar. Blade profile is also somewhat similar. A little more, let's see if I can show. So a little bit better on the, little more length on the handle. And in general, the handle is more comfortable. I mentioned in my video that this one gets uncomfortable after a while. Also, the way the jimping's ahead of my thumb on this, so I actually have to reach for it, whereas this one, this is kind of where my thumb naturally sits. So it's a very nice knife. I like it a lot. The one thing I have had a problem with, I'm not sure if it'll come up on camera, the grind on it is a little bit off. It sits to my left on this side. Let's see if I can bring it up close to see. Now, I've never had that with the Bark River knife where the grind was uneven on the back. I sent them an email, and I'll let you guys know how that turns out. Other than that, the knife is beautiful. I like the clean lines. It's very nice, and as I said, it's very comfortable in the hand. The sheath kind of got a good and bad with it. It's very sturdy with the magnet, which, you know, holds the knife in, it actually does hold very securely. It doesn't come out very easily. I mean, I actually have to kind of pull pretty hard with 2 fingers before I get to the slide. So as such, comparatively with the blackjack neck knife, this came out a little too easily. If I was carrying my son, it would just kind of come popped out, and with a knife this sharp, that is definitely too dangerous for me. I'll need to get a new sheath for this if I continue to carry it. I have worn this around my neck for the past, I don't know, 2 days. I wanted to do a review earlier, but I didn't have a chance. But I've been wearing this around my neck and carrying my son and doing all sorts of things, and this has not slipped at all. So it's a very secure sheath, so that's definitely a good thing. The bad thing is it's a little thick. I mean, if you look at the difference here, because the double layering to put in the magnet, it's much thicker. Whether I keep this knife or I get a replacement because of the off grind, I will likely get a Kydex sheath that has a very secure fit to get a little bit narrower. It also might drop a little bit of weight. But the big question is, how well does it cut? I haven't really done much cutting with this, if any at all, just because I've been waiting to do it on camera so I can give you guys my honest impression. So let me kind of move that out of the way. We'll just start with a couple things. Cardboard. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to have to adjust the height of this so it'll come up better, so hold on. Please excuse me if I have a kind of a crappy cutting technique. I'm cutting from behind the camera, so I'll just kind of do the best that I can. I mean, just doing a push cut straight through, it's got definitely some resistance, but let's compare it to this. Now that's just how I started feeling a lot of resistance, and it definitely cuts further, although it doesn't seem to be as clean as my Zancudo. See here, see doing angle cuts. Definitely it does a little bit better with that. I'm just trying to do more shallow slow cuts. I'm not doing any quick cuts. It's not bad. It's got a little bit of resistance, but one thing I have noticed is maybe it's due to the grind. I do get it's not quite as sharp back here. Let's move on to some rope. This rope is relatively stout. I mean, it's almost as thick as my finger. Let's see here. It cuts pretty well with the rope. I'll compare that to my blackjack, which is a convex edge as well. So blackjack, I can kind of do push cuts through it. If I rock it a little, I'll do push cuts too. One thing I have noticed with most of my bark rivers is, although they come pretty darn sharp in the beginning, they actually get a little bit sharper over time as I strop them up. But it's definitely, it's not bad at all. It's you know, quite respectable. I mean, with just slight pulling, it tears through pretty well, and as you can see, I mean, it's going through a lot of fiber there. Yeah, I have to rock it too with the blackjack, so maybe I just kind of got lucky with one of them. Definitely not bad. It's not my sharpest knife, but it's definitely in the upper echelon of my knives. I think probably my sharpest would be my Ultralight Bushcrafter and my Aurora. They both tend to be really sharp. Let's move on to wood now. This has been out in a few rainstorms and then dried out several times over, so it's pretty well hardened up. Definitely not bad. This is kind of crappy wood. Let's see, kind of test it comparatively. Blackjacks might be doing a little bit better there. Might just be because that was a good angle that I got. Yeah, they're relatively equal. I think part of it also depends on which part of the, which segment of the blade I use. As I get more towards the belly, it definitely cuts a lot smoother. I'm sorry if that didn't come up on camera, but it's definitely not bad. Let's see. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think if I was just going between these two, the thickness of this, or the way that the convex is done, currently it works a little bit better. I think if I actually strop this up and kind of got it into shape, it would hold a little bit better. See if I have a piece of paper here to see if it's held its edge pretty well. I don't know, maybe it did lose some of its edge. Yeah. Let's see here comparatively. I think this paper is a little bit wet. There we go. No, it's still pretty sharp. Might have some micro serrades on it. Can't quite tell. Let's see if it takes hair still. Yeah, still takes hair really well. So yeah, my overall impressions, and as I said, this is just first impressions. As time goes on, it might change. I think it'll be a good neck knife. I don't think this would be an everyday carry by any stretch of the imagination, but I think this would become kind of like my go-to hiking knife, especially if I can get a good kydex sheath for it. It's definitely relatively light. It's 2.97 ounces or somewhere around that. It's actually the same weight as my ultralight bushcrafter, even though it's got a little less cutting edge. But as usual, the ergonomics of it are phenomenal. Bark River does an excellent job with its ergonomics. I'll have to figure out about this uneven grind. As I said, that's something I'm not too thrilled with. And it's never happened before with the Bark River knife, so it's kind of unusual. But I'll see how they kind of want to handle that. But yeah, as time goes on, I'll kind of do an updated video of what I think of it. Maybe I can get out in the woods and see how it performs out there in more realistic and ideal conditions. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments or anything you want to say, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. I'll leave the full specs of the knife. And yeah, thank you very much. Hope you guys all have a great time.